Welcome back everybody to the daily show where we discuss and do technical analysis on big mega cap stocks. So before we get started, please smash that like button, and 100 plus likes on this video would be greatly appreciated, guys. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now if you want to support the channel and get my daily trade ideas, my swing trade ideas, live trading, and all kinds of setups, definitely check out their link down below in the description for Patreon. And now let's get right into it, guys. On Apple, stock is down 2.19% and Apple holding above rising 5-day moving average right here, 172. So that's going to be your line in the sand. And just below that, we also have white line 20-day moving average, 172. That's going to be a strong support to watch going into tomorrow's session here on Apple stock. Below 172, you're going to see a dump all the way down to 170. And then below 170, guys, this breakout will not play out and Apple can come back all the way down to 166. Now, Apple was holding all day 173 until end of the day. This thing actually came back and now trading around 173. So Apple needs to get above 173. Apple needs to hold 173, and then you're going to see more upside all the way up to 177 right here. And once we get above 177, then we can finally talk about a lot more upside on Apple stock. As of right now, you're line in the sand for tomorrow, 172, 170, and then big dump off all the way down to 166. On Amazon, stock is down 1.35% and Amazon breaking down under 185 and also into closing barely holding 183.46 as a support, rising 13-day moving average. Below that, tomorrow you could see Amazon down to 20-day moving average 181.43 and then critical support at 180. Now also we talked about it before in my video that Amazon has been running for weeks now. Yes, there is going to be a time where Amazon will pull back. And look at the volume here on Amazon today, on this day where Amazon was actually down, high volume selling. So that can continue. Amazon gets under 20-day moving average 181.43. Things will change and you're going to see more dump off, possibly at some point down to this gap 170.23. So for tomorrow, guys, on Amazon, there will be support at 183.46 and then down here 180 and then 176.44 all the way down to 173 and then this gap 170.23. To the upside, Amazon will find resistance right here at 185 and just above 185, strong resistance also at 186.08, 5-day moving average, and Amazon can clear all that, then watch out for a move back up to 190. And here's my X account, and if you guys are on there, definitely give me a follow. And there is no subscription, nothing here on X. It's totally free and you can always ask me a question if you have right here on X. And let me share some fantastic plays. As a matter of fact, fire plays from today, guys. AMD this morning, it was 9:35 a.m. AMD was trading right here at 160, 170 calls that I called out. And look at this jump right here. Within minutes, 164 took profit and got away from AMD. And then this thing came down. But when you look at this play, guys, even better. Look at this play on SPY ETF. So this morning, we got gap up, massive gap up on SPY ETF, on QQQ, and also on Dow Jones ETF, DIA. Everything gapped up. And look at this play that I took at 5:15, 9:32 a.m. 510 puts on SPY ETF in everyone, right? And this thing dumped and now trading at what? 503, I believe. So this was a massive trade right here on SPY ETF. So all these plays are available on Patreon, and I'm talking about serious people. If you're really serious into trading and you want to learn and you want to get all these trade ideas, then definitely check out their link down below in the description for Patreon. Also, lots of people actually made money today and I'm really happy about that. So congratulations to everyone who made money on SPY or even DIA calls that we actually swung over the weekend, and also on AMD for today. It was a really nice setup today and everyone made money, which actually makes my day even better. On Google, stock is down 1.80%. So Google also big bearish engulfing candle and barely holding above 155. And now into closing also just above 155.93, holding above rising 13-day moving average. So here on Google, guys, now 155, that's going to be a big level to watch. Below that, you're going to see a dump off down to 20-day moving average 153.83, and then we can talk about Google coming down and possibly filling this gap just below 145, and on that way Google will have support right here also at 148, and then this gap just under 145. Now as long as Google can stay above 155, then watch out, we might be going back up to 158.42 to retest 5-day moving average, and once we get above that level, then Google might be going back up for another fresh new all-time high, and that could be 160, 162, and possibly even 166. But looks like with this bearish engulfing candle and some high volume selling today, we might get some follow through tomorrow, and there might be more selling here on Google stock down to 20-day moving average right here 153.83. It's not too far away, and soon as that gives up, guys, this gap will come into play and this thing will come down even more. On AMD, it's down 1.81%. So you guys saw that play on AMD, getting in at 160 and quickly selling out when this thing went back up to like 164. We all know that 164 now, that's gonna be a strong resistance to break. Look at this consolidation. It was holding 164, and that was also previous all-time highs, and now we're going back up to 164 today and finding strong resistance right here and getting a rejection, and now barely holding 160 lower Bollinger Band as a support into closing. So AMD 160, that's gonna be your line in the sand for tomorrow, and 164 can break, then watch out for a move up to this gap 166.55 up to even 13-day moving average right here, and that is around 172.39. Below 164, there is no strong support until this gap right here, and that is a long way down 148.75 on AMD. On Meta, it's down 2.28%, so Meta dumping today. But if you look at my screen, we do have earnings coming up next week. Now, Meta from $88 about 2 years ago. Now, fresh new all-time high over 530 just a couple days ago, right? Can we afford a pullback on Meta? Absolutely we can, and that would be a healthy pullback here on Meta. If this thing gets down another 50 to 100 bucks down to, I would say, 400, even 350, that would be absolutely healthy pullback on Meta. So yes, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if that happens, I mean, that is totally fine. And the trend on that monthly time frame will be still up. So that is totally healthy, guys. Now, also in my video, we talked about it before that Meta will likely to come down and close this gap at 507 and then 497, and possibly this gap down here at some point. And you can see how well this is actually playing out. Meta closing this gap at 507 last week, huge dump off, went back up, and now today closing this gap at 497 and finding support there, going back up and now trading at 500. So 500 to 497, that's gonna be your line in the sand right here on Meta for tomorrow, and below that 490, and then this gap 469. To the upside, Meta will find strong resistance right here at 506, 20-day moving average, and above that you're going to see Meta going back up all the way up to 514.40, and then possibly can even retest 520. On Microsoft, it's down 1.96%, so Microsoft is down almost 2%, and look at this big bearish engulfing candle. Now, whenever you see something like this, usually there is more selling to come, and that can happen. Now, one thing I want to point out, even though it's down on the day, I did call this out before that Bollinger Bands are squeezing right here. So a big move is coming here on Microsoft, and looks like we might be coming down even more. The only thing that is holding Microsoft right here, we do have strong support at 413. Also, look at this, lower Bollinger Band sitting at almost 415. So that is why this thing still with a big bearish engulfing candle holding right here. Now 413 gives up. Slowly but surely you're going to see Microsoft coming down and closing this gap 405.68, and that's gonna be another level to watch as a support, and then flat 400. Now to the upside, finally, after holding for multiple weeks right here above 420, if this thing goes right back up tomorrow, there will be strong resistance at 420, and once we get above 420, then we can talk about more upside on Microsoft. Until then, watch the support 413 and watch the resistance right here at 420. On Nvidia, stock is down 2.48%. So Nvidia, I mean, this was all over the place. And trust me when I say this, I was looking to get into Nvidia puts this morning when this thing was trading at 904. I was going to get some puts 820 or 840, but when I saw, options are way expensive than any other things here in this market, I can get SPY, Qs, anything else is cheap. This thing was not worth it, guys. And that is why, I mean, yes, I did miss out on a big move, even though I was, pretty sure that this thing would drop at least 20-30 bucks. I did not get any puts on Nvidia stock because things are jacked up. It's expensive, and I'd rather go play something like AMD or something else where I can spend like maybe $2,000 on 10 contracts than paying $2,000 for one contract and then make 500. Risk to reward ratio is very low here, and I'm not really making any money even with a big move unless I'm going really big and going in the money, which I'll never do on Nvidia stock unless this thing comes down and option prices actually drops even more and we get something cheaper like we did when this thing was trading around 500. So if you're trading Nvidia, yeah, good luck to you, because I'm definitely not buying these options, paying $2,000, 2,500 for weekly puts or calls. It's just too expensive. Now on Nvidia stock, this thing dropped after hitting 900 plus. You can see rejection of a 20-day moving average and getting slightly above, but there was a fake breakout and then immediately pulling back and closing at the low of the day almost. Now trading at 860, again down 856. We do have strong support at 840, but below that you're going to see Nvidia coming down and closing this gap 823. Tomorrow to the upside, there will be resistance at 875 and then 895 and then 900. Above 900, we can talk about Nvidia going up again. Until then, I think very soon you're going to see Nvidia stock pulling back and closing at least this gap 823. So Netflix also going down 2.52% and getting down to 604 and holding that as a support into closing. We do have earnings coming out from Netflix this week on Thursday, and that's going to be a big one. I think there is an expected move here on Netflix for 60 or 65 bucks. So this thing could be plus or minus $65 on Thursday. Now going into tomorrow's session, 604, that's going to be a support to watch, 600 and then 588 all the way down to this gap, 575.78. To the upside, if this thing actually makes a move back up to the upside, there will be strong resistance right here at 621.55, 20-day moving average, and Netflix can clear that, then watch out for a move back up to 630. And you can see 630, big resistance right here, multiple rejection, fake breakout, and then pulling back inside 630. So once we get up to 630 and this thing can hold for multi-days, then possibly this thing heading even higher. But with all these gaps and earnings coming up this Thursday, there is a possibility this thing can come down and close some of these gaps to the downside. But that all depends on earnings, which is coming out Thursday. On Tesla, stock is down 5.59%. So Tesla getting absolutely destroyed today, not even holding lower Bollinger Band right here, and now trading at 161.48, just trading above this previous low right here and barely holding 160 as a support. So going into tomorrow's session, Tesla, we do have earnings coming up next week, and I think that is on Tuesday. So that is something can actually change the way Tesla is going down. Maybe, Elon Musk can pump this again with some good earnings going into next week. Until then, if you're looking to play Tesla, I would say stay away up until earnings if you're buying options. Now, if you're buying shares, and you're going long, absolutely a bargain right here to buy at this level as long as you can hold Tesla as a dip buy long term. At least couple months, not buy right here and then sell next week Monday. I'm not talking about that. Also not buying any options because of earnings coming up very soon next week. So Tesla here guys, 160 your line in the sand, and below that this weekly gap 152 to the upside. Now if Tesla can actually make it up here, that's going to be around 165. There will be resistance at 165 and then 172 20-day moving average. And once we see Tesla clearing 172, then possibly we can talk about more upside back up to 180 and then this gap 186.72. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching.